Welcome to Breaking Ties Destination Divorce. This is your go-to source for practical advice and support while you go through the divorce process. Join us each weekday for a quick chat where we'll cover a variety of topics such as child custody, property division, and self-care. Together, we'll explore emotional, financial, and legal aspects of divorce and help you find the best path forward for you and your family. Here's your host and Certified Divorce Financial Analyst professional, Mike Fulkerson.
Hello, and welcome to the fifth and final day of our week-long Breaking Ties interview series. The series where we talk with professionals who help people through the divorce process, whether it's the beginning, middle, or end. Doesn't really matter. We're looking for answers and, hopefully answering your questions that you might have. So with me today is Gina Positano. She is the owner of Gina Positano Designs, and she really is great at creating stylish and functional clutter-free spaces. And if you haven't caught the previous episodes, you want to go back. There's really great episodes we had. This is a 5-part series. You want to catch all the pieces parts because they all have different questions and really talk about empowering yourself to take control of your own space. Now, I'm Mike Fulkerson, financial advisor and certified divorce financial analyst professional. And, we're going to get through some last minute thoughts here today, and we're going to actually, finish on a high note. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm glad you're with us. And I want to say thank you to Gina for coming on to the podcast, and I hope you've had a great time.
I have. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Oh, man, I tell you, I learned a lot. There's a lot that you shared that I thought was actually pretty interesting. So our listeners, our listeners are going to get a lot out of this. And so I think it's fantastic.
Great.
And as we wrap up the series, I know there's always a lot of questions usually around working with an individual such as yourself. So, many times it's a matter of, should someone consider hiring a professional interior designer or organizer? And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think maybe if you lack the time, you're working long hours and your place it keeps getting pushed to the back burner. If maybe you don't have the design expertise that you would like, you don't really have that eye, but you kind of have like a little vision, I definitely think it could be worth it. We can help you a lot. I mean, I can help someone set up their entire house and have it feeling like you and exactly how you and your kids need it. And as far as the organizing, for sure, I don't think anyone should be living with clutter. I mean, of course it happens. There's no judgment at all. Again, a busy professional, you go through a divorce, you move a country, you move down the street, life just happens. And unfortunately, sometimes it's our houses that just take the back burner and it's the last thing to get fixed. But that's the one thing that I think helps fix our mind the most. You live in a place you love and you're not looking at a bunch of stuff you don't need. You're not looking at a pile of bills. Put them away, file them. But you just again, like we talked about, you're surrounded, when you look around your house, you're surrounded with things that you love and there's not just a ton of clutter. So a lot of my clients sometimes have said, I was embarrassed to call you, or I feel so shameful, or they want to clean first. But no, don't. You don't have to clean before the cleaning lady comes. I will come, I will help you. I walk through the process, help you declutter. And again, I think everyone should have that home they feel proud of and they love. So for sure, if you're kind of feeling stuck, you could try it on your own. But if you are feeling a bit stuck and you're not making much headway, it's definitely worth calling someone to help.
Right, exactly. And someone, with your experience is pretty good because you don't want necessarily people throwing things away before you get there, because as we talked about on a previous episode, you can repurpose stuff. There is always, getting your experienced eye, I think is pretty important for people figuring out what they want to do if they're not sure.
Right, exactly. I mean, you can sell it too. It's not just about giving. You could sell it, and sometimes you can use that money to buy something new or pay for the service to help you for the decorating or organizing.
Absolutely. Now, as we wrap up here, I always like to ask our guests to share some final thoughts with regards to the divorce process or them or what have you. So I'm going to put the question to you as well. What are your final thoughts you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Well, as we said, divorce is huge. It's a big thing. It could be the most stressful thing in your life. You could become amicable, through it, after it, but it is a huge change. So try not to go hard on yourself and remind yourself it is temporary, as big as it might seem at the moment and as stressful, like a never ending situation. You are going to get through it. And once you do set up your home the way that just reflects your personality, your kid's personality, once you're through the divorce and everything, the kind of life back to a new normal, I think you're going to feel amazing. It could be, like you keep saying, it's not the end of your story. It could be the beginning of your story. It is. It's a new chapter. So embrace it.
Absolutely. And that is fantastic advice. I mean, it really is. Everybody's divorce process is a little bit different and a little unique. But in the end, the transition is very challenging. It is difficult. And, you want to give it the attention it needs, but then you need to move on as well.
Right.
So thank you again for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun.
That's great. So, for our listeners, this is going to end the week-long series. Once again, go back, check out all the days, all the questions, and all the information. It was really, really good. And Gina and I would, like to thank you for joining us on this episode of Breaking Ties, the interview series. And her information is in the description for you to reach out to her. Divorce is not the end of your story. As Gina and I have shared, it is the start of your next great chapter. And with that, have yourself a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. Goodbye. Talk to you soon.